obviously Media Day is continuing to do well, but the story now is this new landscape with NIL and the phrase opt-in.
Yes.
The conference opted in. So
Yes.
I do want to talk about that because people are still trying to wrap their brains around all of that. What does opt-in mean?
Opt-in means is that the schools now can directly pay student athletes. They don't have to go through a third party. We can pay directly to the student athletes in order for them to come in. One of the things that SWAC did not do that some other FCS conferences did do is we did not set a market cap on what could be paid per position or per sport. Some conferences are doing it to try to keep costs down. We want to allow the market to determine what that number is within the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Does a quarterback get paid more than a left tackle, paid more than a wide receiver, paid more, than a kicker? The market will be able to determine it. That is the newness of this. We've had some schools last year to actually pay name, image, and likeness, but it was through a third party, through a collective. Now the schools can create a budget and pay directly.
So with this new landscape, and we're talking with our athletic director and others, what are the conversations that should be having in terms of how all this is going to work? The collective and the university working together. At Alcorn, you got the 1871 collective, and then you have athletics. They're having conversations, but then you have all that's under one umbrella. It's kind of different for different schools,
and that's great. There is no one size fit all in this model, and I think that's the great thing about it. I think the conversation that needs to be had is continued growth. I think it was very, very significant for all 12 of our institutions to opt in. And it created that competitive balance that one school can't negatively recruit against another school. That doesn't necessarily mean that Alcorn is going to spend the same amount of money as Jackson, has the same amount of money as Valley. But for your ability to be able to spend the money was key. And revenue generating to be able to put dollars together in order to give name, image, and likeness, whether it's through your collective or directly through the institution, whatever works best for the institution, now those options are there.
Was it a difficult conversation in getting everyone to buy in? Was it obvious?
It was obvious. Again, our council of presidents have been on the same page. Our athletic directors have been on the same page. But again, because of the national committees, we have 32 individuals within our conference that are on NCAA committees. Our chair of the council of presidents and chancellors, Dr. Quentin Ross, is on the Division I board for the NCAA. He's also on the finance committee, so all money goes through him. It's been eye-opening, but we've been at the table. We've been able to assist in these rules that have been implemented and the future rules that are going to be implemented, which is something that I think that we've missed in the past. So everybody's been on the same page because we've been engaged in the process. And when you're engaged in the process, you have some say-so in the process. And I think that's been key for us to being on the same page and being able to move forward.
Well, you have said, even prior to all this, that every decision that's going to be made involving the SWAC, there's some folks invested in the SWAC at the table as these things are happening.
Absolutely.
So this was really big.
Absolutely. It's big, and I think, again, it's important for us to be there. We are no longer viewed as the small, tiny HBCU conference. We have a lot of respect, giving shout out to Birdman, a lot of respect being put on our names.
Yeah.
We are significant in this NCAA structure, and the value proposition of our brands have increased significantly, and all of it has been a collaborative, cohesive movement from all 12 institutions.
Well, what do you think about 2025 SWAC Football Media Day?
I'm excited. The thing that I noticed when I saw the predicted order of finish was that there were 6 schools with close voting as far as points are concerned. And for me, that says that SWAC is going to be extremely competitive this year based upon those that voted. As a commissioner, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
A long line of competitive games. This 2025 season, to me, kind of have a different feel of excitement. We have some great coaches. People talk to me about the turnover and the rotation of the coaches. We've had some coaches to leave to get other jobs, and we have some that have not. But the one thing that you can say is winning is at a premium now in the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Yeah.
And there's a prize at the end of the rainbow, being able to keep the revenue for the championship game and the revenue from the Celebration Bowl. So there's obviously a lot to play for. And I think as our schools continue to make a huge investment into the football programs, they're looking for a return on that investment. So that's the nature of the game when those dollars start to become a part of it.
When we interviewed John Grant, I asked him an interesting question. I said, Mr. Grant, do you think we'll go back to where there's 2 weeks in between the SWAC Championship and Celebration Bowl? And he said, probably not. Those days are done with the way the TV landscape is. And I know you were jumping on the table hoping that we would get the 2 weeks, but that's another landscape that has changed a little bit.
It has. So that's one of those setup questions that I'm not going to answer. So I'll agree and say, yes, it has changed.
Well, no,
Thank you for the question.
It wasn't a setup. It was just in terms of, just the way the landscape is changing, where, it was 2 weeks that we had, but now it's just 1 week, and you just have to make that adjustment.
Well, I think the one thing that we're going to have to adjust ourselves to is adjusting. I think that's going to be the landscape of collegiate athletics. What was true today is not going to be true tomorrow as far as how this entire NCAA structure is. You're going to have to be nimble. You're going to have to be able to adjust, and I think for 105 years that's what the SWAC has done. And that's what we'll continue to do.
Well, the last time we talked, we were dealing with the SWAC meetings and things like that. There's some.
Here's another setup question. Right? Go ahead and answer.
In terms of things that have been approved the Thursday, Saturday. When we talked last, that was a topic for discussion whether it would stay Thursday or Saturday or would go away. But it continues. Talk about that.
Not a lot to talk about. There wasn't a whole lot of discussion. Again, that rule was something that the athletic directors and the SWAs brought to the table, went to the president. Not a whole lot of discussion about it. So it'll stay for this year and be reevaluated for next year.
What are some of the things as far as discussion points as far as the SWAC is concerned? Just some concerns or some things that we have to continue to work through?
Well, I think it was a really, really good meeting. I think, again, the cohesiveness of all 12 of our member institutions is there. Everything is pointing towards SWAC TV and what this opportunity is going to allow for us to do, to grow the exposure. And I think that has been the main focus of not only the Council of Presidents, but the athletic directors as well.
Well, that's one of the big pieces of news, Mr. Commissioner, as far as the new platform. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's SWAC TV. You can download it today on Roku and on your Apple devices. I think Fire Stick and Amazon and the other devices will be up by the 1st of August. We're going to have 45 football games on since this is Media Day, but we're going to expand our coverage to Olympic sports. All of our championships will be on, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity for us to expand, grow our exposure, 1080p, free. And what we have tracked over the last 3 years is our viewership, our fan base, and we're confident that this is going to be a great experience. We know that we have significant amount of viewership, whether it's on ESPN Plus or our SWAC digital network. SWAC TV is going to be a totally different, enhanced experience. And we know that it's going to be something that is astronomically great for the viewership and the experience of our fans. So we're excited about it and where it's going to take us.
And in HBCU Go, there's a bunch of games on Go as well as
yes.
the ESPN family of networks.
Yes. So I think ESPN has 14, Go has 15, and we have 45. So every SWAC football game will be on some form of nationally televised platform this year.
How exciting is that, the expansion of all of that?
Very exciting. This is what SWAC deserves. It took us a minute to get here, but excited to be here. And again, we did not want to haphazardly do anything. Everything has to be done at the highest of quality. It takes resources to do it. It takes a lot of legal, paperwork to get there.
Yeah.
It takes our outside consulting firms, and we did not shortchange any of that process. We have some of the greatest firms and minds working with us to ensure that this is a success. We're here, and I'm ecstatic, Charles.
Mr. Commissioner, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.